last big question is, you already know that I started this campaign to encourage the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to nominate Phil for his significant contribution to music as a solo artist. And I'm curious, I know you touched a little bit on some of the reasons, but what are his significant contributions to music that you'd like to point out and kind of state for the record?
Well, I'll just restate again what I said before, which is that his particular style as a solo artist, different from his style as an artist in Genesis, is the thing I think that almost all young artists in one form or another have not copied necessarily, but been influenced by in the last 25 years. I think that an album like No Jacket Required, almost more than any other, really changed the course of pop music and in the decade that came after it. And all of that stuff that happened in the 90s, all of those singers and singer-songwriters that came out, and even if you listen to an album, for example, like a Don Henley album from the late 80s, there's the influence of Phil Collins as well.
Yeah.
And it's not even in the songs themselves, but you can get a flavor. There's a flavor in his music that survives to this day in other people's music. It's like a fragrance almost. It's almost like some kind of emotional thing you can't quantify necessarily, but it's there. And aside from the fact that in the middle of the 1980s you couldn't find a thing on TV that he wasn't in.
Right.
He was, that's why in 1990 he called himself the ubiquitous Phil Collins, which means a guy who's there everywhere, which he was.
Right, and he was.
I don't think it's possible for him not to make a mark, because he was in so many aspects of the culture at that time that he left his mark in almost every aspect of it in certain ways. So I think the thing that most offers an explanation as to why he belongs in the Hall of Fame as a solo artist is that influence survives to this day, right straight throughout pop music, I think. And you might not be able to identify a particular thing about it, but there is a definite flavor to it of his stuff that has survived. And I think if you ask a lot of these young artists, they would say that Phil was one of their early influences. I know I've heard it from some people.
Definitely.
So yeah, I think that would be my answer for that.
I think that's a great answer. Thank you.
But I remember not so long ago, I get on, get strong, and I gave it all to you. Now I'm living on borrowed time, but it's mine. Oh, do you hear me? I cannot believe it's true. Are you really doing the things you do? No, I cannot believe it's you.
The last question, I do have one last question for you, is I started this campaign about 3 months ago to encourage the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to nominate Phil for his significant contribution to music as a solo artist. What's his contribution to music as a solo artist that you can talk about?
The songs,
Right?
the many songs
Right?
that people love around the world. Yeah, that's why we do what we do. And he has so many songs as a solo artist that have connected with, I'm telling you, people that English is not their first language. And we go to whatever country, Tracy, and they're singing the songs in English, but it's not their, that's not a small thing. That's not a small thing. And, people will be singing his songs forever and ever and ever. And I think he deserves his place in this particular archive of greatness, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think he deserves his place for what he's given to me, but to the planet.
Exactly, for what he's given to the world. I agree.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that thought. I love it.
Absolutely.
As as you know, I started this campaign called Get Phil Voted In, because I think it's an egregious oversight that Phil has not been recognized for his significant contribution to music as a solo artist. And it is significant. And I wonder if you've had any time to think about, I know you knew this question ahead of time, if you can identify what maybe his most significant contribution to music as a solo artist is.
Well, I think that Phil is a very unique artist in that he combines his own original material, but will also embrace the music of the past that he loves and respects. And he needs to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame just simply because you cannot touch his achievements as a solo artist. The amount of albums sold, the amount of tickets sold, you just can't touch it. So it's an inevitable thing that he will be in there, and the sooner the better.
Well said. Thank you so much, Paul Flattery, for your time.
Understand, don't seem to realize.
What do you think Phil's most significant contribution to music is as a solo artist?
Well, he's a legendary drummer, and he's written countless hit songs. And like we know, he's one of 3 people in the world that have sold over 200 million records by themselves and in a band. Then there's Paul McCartney and Michael and Phil. And so that's pretty big accomplishment. I don't think he should be in the Hall of Fame. Phil should be in there. He's already in there for Genesis, though, isn't he? Yeah, he is.
He is. He was inducted in 2010 with the members of Genesis. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. But for his solo career, which began in I think 80 or 81, Face Value was officially released. That body of work hasn't been recognized, and I think it's really an oversight. And I think a lot of it's very political. I think sometimes if you're very popular, people don't think you're good, which I think.
And the same with Phil. He's selling me all these hit records. Well, yeah, there's a reason for it. And Smoke on the Water everybody hates the song Smoke on the Water, but because it was a perfect song, but it was played too much,
Yeah, that happens. I think that happened to Sussudio. I think for sure people just got, it was so popular and so played, and
that was back when MTV was in its prime too. So it was in heavy rotation all day long, every day, and all that stuff.
Yeah, it was kind of a perfect storm. And I think when people get that high, as far as when I say that the popularity is so great, that you can't sustain that forever. And so the inevitable happens. And I think that happens to the most famous, and I think it's Phil's time, though. I think it's time for him to be recognized. And I hope that it happens for him.
Yeah, I think so too. And I'm sure that most people a lot of people would agree with you.
Yeah, I think so. Everybody I've talked to. But then all my friends are Genesis and Phil Collins fans.
Yeah, or in the band. So.
Or in the band, right?
They're listening, but they're not hearing me. They're being.
It's such a big experience when you work with somebody like that, especially somebody of his caliber who has, provided the soundtrack for a lot of lives.
Yeah.
So I'm just happy that I got a chance to, come and play for a minute and get to know some really great people. I mean, I've made lifelong friends just from that one job.
Yeah, that's pretty special. I'm glad you came to play too. I really am. So my last question for you is, and it's sort of, I just state why I'm doing this, and that is I started the campaign that I'm doing, the Get Phil Voted In campaign, to encourage the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to nominate and ultimately induct Phil for his work, his significant contribution really to music as a solo artist, and it is significant. So what do you think, if you can say, and again, this is a hard question, what his most significant contribution to music is as a solo artist? If you can think of something.
I mean, I think he's provided a soundtrack. I mean, I was knowing that I was going to do this with you. I mean, I listen to him anyway, but I specifically just put on Spotify and just let it play. And you forget how many, one after the other pops up. And you're like, oh my God, I forgot about, there's so many. And you kind of go, when did he have time to, how do you?
Yeah.
That's a lot of hit records. And that's just counting the hit records.
Right.
Then you just let it play the B-sides and all this other stuff. And you're just like, look at this catalog.
They listen, but they're not hearing me. They're being too cruel to be kind. Any kind of feeling that I had is gone. 'Cause I give it all, it's gone. And I gave it all to you. Now I'm living on borrowed time.
Why do you think Phil should be inducted as a solo artist in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Because he goddamn deserves it.
That's right, damn it.
Jesus. In contemporary rock and roll pop music, who should be represented there? I mean, he's certainly, as a solo artist, he's one of the the most selling solo artists in the history of pop music. But anybody I can imagine who deserves to be in there as a solo artist, he certainly is right near the top of the list, if not at the top. So I think if it's something that's gonna be pursued, I think it's well deserved.
Oh, do you hear me? I cannot believe it's true.
Say that the reason that I started this campaign again is to encourage and make people aware of the fact that Phil is deserving of recognition for his significant contribution to music as a solo artist. And I usually ask my guests, the last question is, what is his most significant contribution to music as a solo artist? If you feel you've already answered it, we don't have to go there. If you'd like to add something, that's always my last question.
Oh, it's just like, I think I have answered it, but I'll simplify it. His music has made the world a better place. And at the end of it all, whatever your endeavor is, if you go look at it and say, yeah, I somehow help people's lives, I think I was successful. And
Indeed.
so his music has done that. It's helped people's lives. It's made the world a better place. And I don't think there could be a bigger accomplishment than that.
I agree. Thank you.
I came up with that all by myself without any forethought.
Good. You did good. Thank you for doing this. And that's the end of our official interview.
It's true. Are you really doing the things you do? No, I cannot believe it.
I started this campaign to encourage the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to nominate and ultimately induct Phil for his significant contribution to music as a solo artist. What do you think is his most significant contribution to music as a solo artist?
Well, I don't understand. I mean, for me personally, there's no reason to this point even that Phil should not be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, here's a guy that's had, he's had 140, he sold 140 million records worldwide. I mean, he's had 7 #1 hits songs. He's I think Michael Jackson and Madonna, or no, Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson are the only other people that have done what he's done. He's the biggest selling artist of the 80s. He's had, I think, like 40 top 10 songs or top 40 songs. This is a ridiculous amount of songs. And that were hits. It seems like anybody would, that would look at that and say, this guy really should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, it's mind-boggling that he's not. I mean, he's influenced so many people that I know in terms of his drumming. A lot of stuff has been sampled by other people. I've worked with people that have said, "Oh, we sampled Phil on that. We sampled his drums on that." He's a producer, writer, performer. That is like one of the best. I mean, you can look at McCartney, and McCartney's done that kind of thing. Michael's Michael Jackson has, but Michael is not, necessarily a producer. And because if you add like the Phil's mix, if you had Genesis and you add like all the other people he's produced over the years, how many records has this guy been involved in? He's amazing as a producer, as a solo artist, and there's very few people that do it all like that. I was growing up, I was a big fan of Todd Rundgren, who is boom boom, and yet you can't. As much as I love Todd Rundgren and his stuff, how do you compare that to Phil Collins? And there's no reason. I see absolutely no reason except for the fact that maybe that it's a great year and there's all these other people eligible. But come on, he should have been in for the last 10 years.
No, I cannot believe it's you, really you.
Those are so cool.
The blocks that are from the original album cover, the Mama album cover.
That's crazy that you have that. You know that I love it. That is so neat.
Well, someday if he gets, they are in the Hall of Fame, but it would be nice to have a video aspect of the Hall of Fame as well, kind of. And I don't know if it's a separate Rock and Roll Hall of Fame deal, but it would be nice to have for a lot of these artists to show other stuff like their video things that were important. David Bowie, his video stuff is very important. Genesis, very important. Kate Bush, I don't know if Kate Bush is going to ever get in, but Kate Bush, all these people that are video artists, a lot of Madonna, a lot of their stuff, people would like to see the stuff that was actually in the videos.
Well, yeah.
Well, I was in Cleveland 2 years ago because my brother was having stuff done in Cleveland, and I voted for Phil. And the little machine there in the lobby and the kiosk thing, I voted for him, and I said, "Come on, this is ridiculous. This guy should be in here."